Welcome to Be Light to Raise Light, where we believe in the power of storytelling to ignite change and inspire transformation. We are your hosts, Nishma Karim and Soraya Body, and we are thrilled to embark on this journey with you. In a world filled with noise and distraction, it can be challenging for mothers and authors alike to find their voice and make a meaningful impact. But fear not, because amidst the chaos, there's a beacon of hope. Enter Be Light to Raise Light. This incredible platform is on a mission to illuminate the path for awakened mothers and inspiring authors, empowering them to share their stories with the world and shine brightly on stages across the globe. It's a game changer for those who are ready to step into the spotlight and amplify their message. Whether you're a mom with a powerful story to share or an author eager to make a difference, Be Light to Raise Light is here to support you every step of the way. So if you're ready to make a real difference and connect with clients who resonate with your message, look no further. Visit our website, our bio, and together, let's illuminate the world with our stories and make a lasting difference. Here is a beautiful podcast for you to listen to as how Be Light to Raise Light has come about. Light to Raise Light.
And so for me in my writing, I really believe I'm not the only one. And I think that every mom in our own way has that dichotomy where we can feel very vulnerable and messy, and I don't want people to see that part of me. And at the same time, we can be like this bull in a china shop if we have to be, and we equally think that people are not going to like us that way either. And it's actually all of that that makes us the beautiful human that we are.
There are stories, and then there are sacred journeys. The kind of stories that whisper to your heart long after the last word is read. The kind that feel like a soft light in the darkness, guiding you back home to yourself. Today, I have the absolute honor of introducing a co-author whose story is not just written on paper, it's grown from the soil of deep inner healing, bathed in the light of rediscovery, and carried with the grace of a woman who chose to rise, not in perfection, but in truth. She gently teaches us what is meant to walk out of the cave and into the light, not with force, but with tenderness. To hold ourselves close, not when we feel strong, but especially when we don't. Her words remind us that we all carry our garden within us, even if the world has told us to abandon it. She has created rituals out of stillness, found power in stolen moments, and transformed overwhelm into wisdom. In the quiet chaos of motherhood, she unearthed a sanctuary and became the lighthouse she had always been looking for. Her chapter will awaken something in you. It will hold your hand. It will say, you matter too. So to those listening, consider this your invitation to pause, breathe, and prepare to meet a story that will change the way you see self-care, motherhood, and the profound magic of returning to yourself. Without giving it all away, because the full bloom is yet to come, I welcome you to open your hearts wide, because what's coming is extraordinary. Let's welcome Christine Williamson. Christine, we're so excited to have you here, and I'm extremely excited. Sorry, and I loved who you are, your story. We're so excited that you're here.
It's a profound honor. I think when I met you, Christine, the first time, I already felt this like connection and like we'd known each other for lifetimes. And so you are part of this Be Light to Raise Light project, but you're really somebody that is etched in the corner and fabric of this community of Be Light to Raise Light, awakening moms and awakening the world. And so I have the pleasure of introducing Christine Williamson. She is a dedicated coach and a 2-time international best-selling author in the books Ripple Effect of Impact and Soul of a Diamond. She supports overwhelmed, lifetime caregiving moms in putting the me back in mommy guilt-free. With certifications from the Institute of Women-Centered Coaching and a background in emotional intelligence, Christine empowers moms to find harmony and fulfillment in their everyday lives. As the founder of Beacon of Hope Heart-Centered Coaching, she provides compassionate guidance, helping women prioritize their well-being while nurturing their families. Christine believes in endless possibilities and encourages others to embrace resilience, empathy, and self-compassion in the face of challenges. You can connect with Christine at her website, which is https mybeaconofhopecoach.com, or email her at christine@mybeaconofhopecoach.com. And don't worry if you didn't get that. We will put that in the show notes. But Christine, we're so excited and deeply grateful to have you here today, and just to be in each other's presence and create from this beautiful space of love. It's truly beautiful. Anish, did you want to share now that excerpt that brought you to tears?
Yes. So I read this and it said, I had been so afraid to step into this place, thinking it would be filled with pain and fear. But what I found instead was the truth of who I am, a light, even in the darkest spaces. I ran my fingers over the words the little girl had ached into the bench, and they read, Christine, I see you, even in the dark. One day, others will see you too. And what a treasure that will be. Wow. Wow. This is what put tears in my eyes. It doesn't matter where you are in life, right? It doesn't matter what's going on in life, what's happening, how far in the darkness you feel like you're in. We all have the light. And we forget that. We forget that we all have the light. And so that is what really put tears in my eyes, because I think as motherhood, we've gone through so much already in our own lives that we forget that that's happening for us too as well. That reminder of we all have the light. So I guess that's one question that comes to mind. Soraya?
Yeah. So our first question we want to ask you is, what inspired you to join the Be Light to Raise Light movement?
Honestly, that is a really great question. So a really good friend of mine at the time, and she ended up having to back out for other reasons. She was the one that told me about it, and I was just like, yeah, I need to do that. And on top of the fact that Hay House had a huge impact on my healing, and in the darkest moments of my life, finding that, and particularly Louise Hay was a starting point for me in understanding how to relate to myself differently than what I had been doing before. And so I remember back then thinking, one day I am going to write for Hay House and tell my story. And then that just kind of got set aside. And so when the opportunity came, I was like, there it is. Here it is. It's my time. And then when I met the two of you, I just knew there was, like you said, Soraya, feeling like we'd known each other for a lifetime. I felt that too.
Yeah, this knowingness, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. You set your intention and you put it to the universe, and how the universe brings it together at the right time.
Yeah.
Right when it's ready to unfold. So thank you for being part of this movement and stepping into this beautiful expansion of publishing with Hay House. We're on the journey with you, and it's been so beautiful and miraculous so far. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to see how you're growing and how beautiful it is to get to know who you are. I think that's what the podcast is all about. It's getting to know who you are. And the fact that you're here with us today and that full on yes was there when we were all together, that makes the reasoning why we are the community that we are. And we just want to raise the vibration of motherhood around the world and continue to build that. And you are one step even closer to keep on vibrating that story of yours. So thank you for being here. I think the next question, you've basically just answered it. It goes, really, how excited are you to collaborate with Awakened Moms and having your story featured around the world and published through Hay House? How excited are you?
I'm extremely excited. I think that for so long, I think as moms, we feel very alone and isolated in our journey, whatever that journey is. And, whether the criticism comes from within or it comes from society pressures or family pressures or whatever that it is, we're often afraid to be ourselves, to show what's going on with us. And the idea of awakening that collective of mothers, that bringing us together, we're not so different. Even if our journeys seem different, we still all bleed the same color. We still feel all of the same emotions. And how powerful and empowering is it when we can do that together and we can hold that space for one another? Because sometimes the journey is very long and it can be very hard, heavy, very hard. And being able to link arms together to join that movement, to say that I see you and you matter too, and let's do this regardless of what it is that we're doing, that matters to me greatly. So I'm very, very excited, very excited.
Thank you. We are excited too. This is just such a beautiful time on the earth for us to come together as mothers to really awaken the world and bring peace and compassion and love to all corners of the earth. And so I would love to dive into a little bit more, Christine, your story, and have you read an excerpt of your story and just really hear a little bit more about what message you really want to share with mothers around the globe and children around the globe from your story.
Okay, so was this the part, I know that this is weird, is this the part that you picked? Because I did not pick anything to read.
That's totally fine. I have something to read actually
Awesome.
that really echoed and resonated from your story. So there were so many parts that resonated. I loved reading your story. Mm-hmm. I read it many times. And I just want to tell all the listeners that it's just so profoundly beautiful. And there are pieces of this story where you will absolutely see pieces of yourself and even pieces you haven't seen yet. So I'm going to just share a couple excerpts that really hit home for me. So
awesome.
Here we go. When I found out I was pregnant with my first child, I whispered a promise to the baby growing inside me. I will love you fiercely. I will protect you and nurture you. The pain that has haunted my family for generations, it ends with me. What I didn't know then was that I wasn't just stepping into the role of a mother. I was embarking on a journey of conscious parenting, a journey that would require me to face the deepest, most unhealed parts of myself, to love in ways I had never been loved, to forgive what felt unforgivable, and to raise my children with hearts open to every emotion, every challenge, and every precious moments of their lives. The amazing thing about motherhood is that it has a way of revealing the pieces of us still left in the shadows, the parts we haven't yet acknowledged, let alone healed. Because being the mother of two neurodivergent daughters, especially our youngest with multiple special needs, has been the most challenging and transformative journey of my life. After 13 years of searching for answers, I realized it wasn't my daughter who needed to change. It was me. My parenting approach was failing her, and her life depended on me seeing things differently. So that's just one small excerpt from your story. Don't want to give it all away, but maybe you can speak a little bit of, in writing from this deepest place of your soul. What is the core message that you think is so important to share?
That it's okay to be vulnerable and messy. Yeah. I think that I'm someone who wears their heart on their sleeve all the time. I'm someone that can cry at the drop of the hat for anything. And at the very same time, I can also be very fierce and determined and someone that can get things done. And sometimes like that dichotomy can seem a little nutty at times, right? And so for me in my writing, I really believe I'm not the only one. And I think that every mom in our own way has that dichotomy where we can feel very vulnerable and messy, and I don't want people to see that part of me. And at the same time, we can be like this bull in a china shop if we have to be, and we equally think that people are not going to like us that way either. And it's actually all of that that makes us the beautiful human that we are. And so by putting that into a story, I wanted other people to see themselves that it is okay to be both, and it is okay to show that deeply vulnerable, messy, messed up, craziness, and at the same time, uh, having it together and getting things done and being uh, on, right? Like when you're just getting it all done all the time, it's both. And yeah, that's it. I want other people when they read my story to see themselves and to really become their own light and their own hero in their own story instead of feeling lost and isolated and alone.
Let's be honest. Your story just put tears in my, I'm still putting tears in my eyes. I didn't want to read it and then be like, okay, here's my podcast. I'm gonna have tears in my eyes. But uh, it actually did, because you're right. I did go back to my story. I did go back to where I was. And sometimes, you think you're healed, but you're still there thinking, I never thought I was okay. I didn't
Yeah.
think that it was all right to go through all of that. I didn't think I was in myself, even though I've made all the mistakes and I went through those journeys and I went through that. You said something in your story that even today I'm like, oh my God, she's right. Even though I went through all of that as a mom, growing up, we don't get manuals. We don't have manuals on how to be a mom or what's going on with us or how we're going to wake up one day and have pain in our shoulders or our back and our legs. We're fine 1 minute and then we're figuring other things out. It's like a whole 180 degrees of like complete change in our life,
Yeah.
our body, our mind, our soul, it's a transformation.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult. And the fact that we have light, that was huge.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in your life, what's going on. We have the light. We can choose to be different. And the other aspect is what Soraya was reading right now in your excerpt. It's not about anyone else that needs to be changed. We got to change
right.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And that really hit me because that was the hardest lesson to learn. As mothers, we always say, my children have to change. My children have to change. They have to
Yeah.
become better. They have to do better. No, you need to let your children be. You need to change yourself.
Yeah.
And when you change yourself, that's when things can start to see different. You can start seeing differently with your kids and allow them to be where they are and work with them at where they are. And we forget that. So those reminders are so important.
Aren't
So
they? Yeah.
thank you so much. And thank you for the tears because you remind me that you have to allow to be you.
You
So thank
do.
you.
And part of that allowing really is accepting where something is, right where it is right now in whatever that is. And I think, we're so often thinking that it has to be a certain way and we have to parent a certain way. Our kids have to act a certain way. I have to be a certain way. And there's something in the allowing and that acceptance phase that shifts us in a way that helps us to see what is and still have the hope for something else and for something else to grow, for something else to become. And it's both of those things at the same time.
Yeah. It's so profound. I think there's so many layers to your story. And like when you share about conscious parenting and allowing, right? And being in awareness. It takes a lot to get to that point, right? It sounds like you had quite a bit of a healing journey up until you had kids. And I think what I loved in your message was that actually your kids, I don't know how you feel, but it's like personal development on steroids, right?
Yes.
You have your kids and you're just like, oh my gosh, like there's things that you didn't see that need healing. And, as they're going through the different phases, it also reminds you of things that you're subconscious that you may not have yet accessed that need to be healed and released in
Yes.
order for you to show up in that consciousness as a parent to your
Absolutely.
children in the way that you want to support them best. And so, I mean, I just want to say it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of reflection. I think you talk about the messy journey of healing. It's not easy. And so can you talk a little bit to the mothers who are listening, that maybe they haven't started the healing journey or they don't know where to start. What would you advise? If you were holding the hand of your hand, back then, what would
Holding
you
my
say?
hand. There was, I think for myself, the first part was I needed to look at myself the way that you would see a wounded child, even if it's not your own. And, if you see a child that falls down on the playground or is running and falls on the sidewalk, we're not going to be like, oh, you stupid kid. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, get up, right? We go and we love and we check them out and we nurture. That was what I learned. Like the first for me was to approach myself the way that I would a child that had fallen or a child that was lost or a child that was abandoned. And understanding that I had to keep telling myself that that's who I am. I was this lost, abandoned child, or I was this child that had fallen and, hit their knee on the cement, whatever that was. And because I knew how to do that, I knew how to help someone else. And I never talked to other people, ever, ever, ever. Even on my worst days, I don't talk to someone the way that I talk to myself. So that was the first step, was to look at myself through the eyes of when I saw someone else that was hurting or injured.
Oh, I love that. The eyes of compassion and love, right?
Yeah,
Extended first towards ourselves and
absolutely.
then outward, right? That's very healing. So I guess, did you do inner child healing work, going back to your childhood in order to access that wounded child?
Yeah, so like going way back, like so my oldest is 26 now. And so when I had that first experience when I was pregnant with her, I did not know. I just knew that the trauma and abuse that had been going on in my family stops with me and that my children were not going to experience that. So at that time, it was more, I'm just not going to do whatever that was. I did not. So yeah, back then I didn't know anything about healing those inner parts of me. It was more, I felt fully responsible and protective of my child that was coming. It it really wasn't until a good 10 years later after that when I really started to understand I can't fully love and protect these children if I didn't go deeper into myself first.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's when that started. And it was my husband that introduced me to uh Louise Hay and a couple of, Louise Hay was the one that spoke to me first. Like he had showed me different ones, and Louise Hay was the first one that I was like, oh, and this idea of looking myself in the mirror. And so I really had to actually start it with, I'm willing to be willing to learn to love myself. Was I had to take it back a few steps to get there. And and as that journey continued, I really started to understand that conscious parenting part and that it really started within myself so that I could actually love my children uh, from a place of deep love instead of like desperation. And that's what switched for me. That I thought what was love was actually desperation and fear.
Mm.
And so when I learned how to love here first, that love for my children, for my husband, for other people came from a place of true love. And that universe love, that guided love, that conscious love that I didn't know up until that point even existed. I just had this idea of something had to be better than what I grew up with. And when I started to connect that, that was when it made such an impact for me.
I love what you said. I'm willing to be willing,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that love extended inward, going inward to connect to that love within yourself is so powerful. It's so
Yeah.
healing to come back to that place and to be able to overflow that to your family. It's like it changes your life. And I know you write about that. It changes your life, it
Yeah.
changes your family's life, and then it goes on to change the world, right? So for all those
Yes.
mothers that are listening, that are wanting to, flip the script, maybe there's things from your childhood that you really loved and you want to bring forward, right? And maybe there's
Yes.
things that you don't and you want to rewrite the script. It
And it
is,
all matters, right?
yes,
Like it's not that there's good and bad, that, oh, we have to get rid of this or we have to, bring this along. It all weaves into the beautiful mosaic that we are. It's just a matter of how are we going to bring that mosaic together that it really does empower us to move forward instead of holding us back.
yeah,
And I think that when I was able to get to the place of understanding that all of that abuse, all of that trauma, it actually helped me become the loving mother that I am to my children. That there is a reason that everything happened, not to say that it was okay, just that I was able to glean those lessons. That's what came out of love. That's what
mm,
came out of learning to love myself. And so it wasn't that I had to run away from my past. It
yeah,
was that I was able to make peace with that and to allow it to be that fertilizer for the growth that I have and that I
mm,
continue to do moving
so
forward.
good. Yeah, I love that. The peace with the past. I think there's just so much depth to what you're saying, and it is a journey to get there. But I want to say to all those listening that Christine provides the hope that
Mhm.
whatever challenges, whatever traumas that you experienced, at the end of the day, that isn't your identity. Your identity
Exactly.
is a connection to this light and this love within you, that you
Yeah.
are part of the universe and you're one with the universe and all beings. And in doing your healing work and going back and reflecting, you can change the narrative and the script. And Christine is
Yes.
a living example of that. No matter how hard it feels or seems or messy, there is so much light on the other
So
side,
much. So
right?
much. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. That's so beautiful. Nish, do you want to dive into our next question?
Honestly, I'm just in love with this conversation. It's one of my favorite conversations when it comes to self-care and self-love because I think we all go through a similar pathway when it goes up and down and we go through our lives. We just have to realize that we're all here together and that is the biggest lesson that I've learned is moms stick together. We're all here together. We're all
Yeah.
going through this journey and we're all going to end up where we need to end up in the right place all the time. So thank you for sharing that. I think the one question I said is do you have any final messages you want to share as an awakened mom, awakening the world, a final message to everyone listening?
Oh my goodness. I would love to uh, invite all moms to start to turn from the punishment that we administer to ourselves into nourishment and to really start to nurture and nourish and replenish ourselves and to just push the pause button for a while on the punishment and the hard time that we give ourselves for getting something, for not getting it right, for losing our temper, whatever that is, and to start to nourish ourselves that we are love, we are the light, and we're okay. We're amazing, and to really nurture that part of ourselves.
I really like that. Love that.
Much. I love that. I just wanted to read one last thing to also from your story to just provide that also additional piece that it just really landed with my heart. So I just wanted to read this. It says, I see myself now as a keeper of my own lighthouse. The world around me may be chaotic, the waves of life crashing against the shore, and I remain the steady light, the calm center. I cannot prevent the storms from coming. What I can choose is to stand firm in my own power, to be the light that guides my children through the turbulence of life. And so I just wanted to read that as a piece before we get into hearing how we can connect with you, just to really hone in on the beauty and the magic that you bring. And your words are echoing in my soul. And we don't want to give it all away because it's just such a beautiful story. And so encouraging all of you that are listening today, our book is coming out at the end of this year. And we are excited to share it with you. So when it does come out, look out for Be Light to Raise Light, a book written with 19 awakened mothers, Christine being one of those beautiful awakened moms that we cherish and are so lucky to have written this book with. That will absolutely transform and echo in every part of your soul. And so thank you, Christine. And I would love for you to share, how can people connect with you? You know, how are you serving your beautiful gifts in the world? And how can our listeners get in touch with you to get more of Christine?
Yeah. Definitely that email. So Christine at mybeaconofhopecoach.com. And then my website as well is there, which is also mybeaconofhopecoach.com. And there, you can reach out and we can connect from there. And yeah, I'm so overwhelmed with gratitude and excitement and honor to be a part of this and to walk alongside other moms. And the world needs that. We need each other. And it's time to break that silence. It's time to break the isolation and the loneliness and to come together and to celebrate who we are.
That's beautiful.
Shivers, full body shivers here.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, Christine. That's so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been such an honor.
Thank you. And Nish, you're going to close us for today.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for everything that you are doing for this world. All the listeners here, Christine is a wonderful, wonderful mom, a very big inspiration to all of us. We are so lucky and honored to have her in our life. We are lucky to have her with us. And for the fact that she's even writing in our book, it's going to be so beautiful. Our book itself is going to highlight this world, and that's exactly what we want. And when it does, it's going to illuminate the world around us, the moms, their children, and every single being that's going to read this book. Christine, thank you so much for being here, for making time and being here, as well as I want you to all to, check out our website, our socials too as well. So Be Light to Raise Light is on Instagram. We have Be Light to Raise Light on Facebook too. So make sure you get that, get on our journey, look at what we're up to, and we cannot wait to share the world with you. Thank you so much for Christine for being here. We love you lots.
Thank you. Love you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Okay.